Welcome to This Explainer. I have to tell you, I was absolutely fascinated to learn about something that is completely foundational to how we function as human beings. Have you ever actually considered that every single cell, every organ, and especially your brain, operates on a highly predictable, strict 24-hour rhythm? It's not random at all. Our biology literally runs on a clock. And today, we are going to learn exactly how the research suggests we can take control and set it.
Which brings us to a really fascinating question. What if you could hack that biological clock for perfect focus, sustained energy, and incredibly deep sleep? Well, based on the essential protocols from neurobiologist Andrew Huberman, it turns out your nervous system is actually the most powerful piece of technology that exists, period. And the absolute best part? We basically have the user manual right at our fingertips.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are going to follow a linear biological roadmap for your day. 1. Winning the morning. 2. The 90-minute focus tunnel. 3. Brain-boosting exercise. 4. Eating for alertness and calm. And finally, 5. Designing your sleep transition.
Section 1. Winning the morning. This is all about setting the biological cascade for your entire day.
As soon as your eyes open, the protocol outlines 3 non-negotiable steps to take right away. First, write down the exact time you woke up. Second, engage in forward ambulation, which honestly is just a fancy science way of saying go for a walk. And third, while you're walking, get natural sunlight directly in your eyes. Even if it's completely overcast, those photons trigger the neurons in your eyes to scream at your brain, hey, it's daytime. Oh, and it's also incredibly helpful to drink a glass of water with about half a teaspoon of sea salt right away. It provides the sodium, magnesium, and potassium you need for healthy neural ionic flow.
Now you might be wondering, why do the protocols suggest writing down your exact wake time? Well, it helps you pinpoint your temperature minimum. This is the specific point in your 24-hour cycle when your core body temperature hits its absolute lowest, and it very reliably occurs about 2 hours before your average wake-up time. So, if you usually get up at 7 a.m., your temperature minimum is right around 5 a.m. Keep that data point in the back of your mind. It's going to be a crucial tool for timing our peak focus a little later in this explainer.
Let's talk about that morning walk. To translate the nerd speak just a bit, when you walk outdoors, visual images pass by your eyes. This generates something called optic flow. And optic flow has an incredibly powerful, measurable effect on your nervous system. It physically quiets the neural activity in your amygdala. Since the amygdala is basically your brain's alarm system for threat detection and fear, simply getting outside and moving forward actually lowers your baseline anxiety for the day. You become alert, but totally calm.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we handle caffeine. You probably crave a cup of coffee the literal second you wake up, right? But the research suggests you should purposely delay it by 90 to 120 minutes. Here's the why before the what. Your sleepiness is caused by the buildup of a molecule called adenosine. Caffeine doesn't actually get rid of adenosine, it just temporarily puts a block on its receptors. If you drink coffee immediately, you're blocking those receptors while the sleepiness molecule is still hanging around. By the afternoon, when the caffeine wears off, bam! All that accumulated adenosine rushes in, and you get a massive crash. Delaying your caffeine allows your body to clear out that residual adenosine naturally, giving it a beautiful, steady arc of energy all day long.
Section 2. The 90-minute focus tunnel. Time to hit your ultraradian peak.
Throughout the day and night, your brain operates on what are called ultradian cycles. These are 90-minute biological rhythms where your brain naturally shifts from being highly alert to less alert. To be as productive as humanly possible, we have to leverage these natural 90-minute blocks to enter a highly focused, highly productive work tunnel. To basically force your brain into this optimal state, the research suggests creating a very specific physical and chemical environment. First, fasting until noon naturally increases your adrenaline and epinephrine, which radically sharpens your focus. Next, physically position your computer screen at or above eye level. Looking down signals your brain to get sleepy, while looking up physically triggers brainstem neurons that create alertness. Finally, turn your phone completely off, and I mean off, not just airplane mode, and play low-level white noise. This creates an acoustic environment perfectly primed for learning.
Okay, remember that temperature minimum we calculated. If you're someone who really struggles to find focus, you need to write this number down, 4 to 6. The absolute best time to start your 90-minute focus tunnel is exactly 4 to 6 hours after your temperature minimum. Why? Because your body temperature is rising at its steepest slope during this exact window, pulling your cortisol and your natural energy levels up right along with it.
All right, Section 3. Brain-boosting exercise. Let's transition from intense mental focus to physical movement.
We all know exercise is great for you, but it turns out duration really matters. The recommendation is to keep intense workouts under an hour. While a sharp pulse of cortisol in the morning wakes you up and supports your immune system, extending a really hard workout past an hour creates long-lasting chronic cortisol spikes. And they're actually detrimental to your bodily systems and your overall brain health.
And this brilliantly illustrates how you should structure that hour. The 80-20 rule. Whether you are lifting weights or doing cardio, 80% of your effort should be non-failure training. You only want to push to absolute failure for the remaining 20%. Pushing past the lactate threshold in that 20% produces lactate, which, remarkably, acts as an incredible fuel source directly for your brain.
Section 4. Eating for alertness and calm, using food as biological signals.
The way Huberman structures his food timing is a fascinating juxtaposition. First off, eating large, heavy volumes of food in the middle of the day literally steals blood away from your brain and sends it straight into your gut, making you incredibly lethargic. The source suggests keeping lunch light and low carb. Starchy carbs release serotonin, which makes you sleepy, so by eating protein and veggies for lunch, you maintain that adrenaline and alertness. You want to save those heavy, starchy carbohydrates for dinner when your explicit goal is to boost serotonin and start shutting down for sleep. Oh, and for general mood support throughout the day, taking 1,000 milligrams of EPA omega-3s has been shown to be absolutely fantastic for your mood.
After that light lunch, the recommendation is to take a brief 5 to 30-minute walk outside. This not only accelerates your metabolism and helps you utilize those nutrients, but it feeds your brain crucial afternoon sunlight data. Getting sunlight around 4 p.m. physically lowers the sensitivity of your retina. And why does this matter? Because a less sensitive retina in the evening acts as a natural buffer, basically protecting your sleep cycle from the negative dopamine-disrupting effects of the artificial screens you are almost certainly going to look at later that night.
Section 5. Designing your sleep transition. In order to fall asleep and actually stay asleep, your core body temperature must drop by 1 to 3 degrees. So, here is a fantastic, totally counterintuitive trick. Take a hot bath, a hot shower, or use a sauna right before bed. I know, it sounds like the exact opposite of what you'd want to do, right? But when you step out of that hot environment, your body engages a rapid, massive counter-response to cool itself off. This artificially accelerates your temperature drop, rocketing you directly into deep sleep.
To support this transition even further, you can utilize a very specific neuroscience-backed supplement stack, often called the sleep cocktail. It consists of 300 to 400 milligrams of magnesium threonate or glycinate, which crosses the blood-brain barrier to promote GABA, a relaxing neurotransmitter. Then you add 50 milligrams of apigenin, which comes from chamomile, to help shut down that endless rumination in your forebrain. Finally, theanine activates chloride channels to lower your neuron activity even more. Notice we aren't using direct serotonin supplements or melatonin here. Those can actually disrupt your natural deep sleep architecture.
So the crucial point is, what if you do everything right, but you still wake up at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling and just can't get back to sleep? We've all been there, and it is a huge pain point. Usually, waking up in the middle of the night happens because you battled your body's natural melatonin pulse. If you felt sleepy at 9 p.m. but forced yourself to stay up working until 11 p.m., your sleep architecture gets completely thrown off. The easiest way to fix this? Simply listen to that first wave of sleepiness and go to bed earlier. And if you absolutely must get up to use the restroom, keep the lights as dim as possible. Return to a cool, completely dark room right away. Remember, we shed body heat through special pathways in our palms and the soles of our feet, so a cool room lets your body naturally dump heat and pull you right back under.
Everything we've discussed today, from morning light to temperature minimums to strategic fasting, comes down to this brilliant thought. They leverage the most powerful technology that exists, which is your nervous system. You are entirely in control of these biological levers.
And that leaves us with one final thought. You now have the blueprint. You know the exact triggers that control your focus, your energy, and your rest. So what does this all mean for you? How will you redesign your 24-hour clock tomorrow? Will you step outside for that morning light? Will you finally delay that first cup of coffee? The technology is yours to command. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.